Hi guys, today's lesson is on standard form dealing with small numbers. So let's crack on and get this done. Standard form is a universally agreed way of writing large or small numbers. Here at the microscopic level, we've got a tiny number. Look at all those zeros. But we can rewrite that number in standard form as 1.67 times 10 to the negative 24. There are two parts to a standard form number. The first part is a number between 1 and 10. That number can equal 1, but it must be less than 10. And this number is being multiplied by a power of 10. Here are two examples of numbers in standard form, and note the negative powers. We really need to understand what a negative power means. 10 to the power of negative 2 means 1 divided by 10 to the power of positive 2. Note the negative power does not make the number negative. It just means 1 divided by. Therefore, 2.4 times 10 to the negative 2 becomes 2.4 times by 1 divided by 10 squared. And that becomes 2.4 divided by 10 squared. So we can see that multiplying by 10 to the negative 2 is exactly the same as dividing by 10 to the power of positive 2. We can see that again in our second example. 10 to the negative 6, remember the negative power means 1 divided by 10 to the power of positive 6. So when we multiply 8.1 times 10 to the power of negative 6, we get 8.1 times by 1 over 10 to the power of 6. And that is 8.1 divided by 10 to the power of 6. Once again, we can see that multiplying by 10 to the negative 6 is the same as dividing by 10 to the power of positive 6. And that's what a negative power means. As we've just seen, multiplying by 10 to the negative 2 is dividing by 10 squared. And that means dividing by 10 twice. So we divide by 10 once. Note the bank of tens has gone down by 1. And then we divide by 10 again. And that's our final answer. Similarly, for part B, multiplying by 10 to the negative 6 is dividing by 10 to the power of 6. And that's dividing by 10 6 times. Well, we divide by 10 once, 0.81, and notice the bank of tens has gone down by 1. But we've still got to divide by 10 5 more times. And to do that, we simply insert 5 zeros after the decimal point. So our final answer is there. But rather than doing that step-by-step approach, let's look back at our two answers. In part A, our power of 10 is 10 to the negative 2. And look at the number of zeros in the answer. In part B, our negative power of 10 is 6. And look how many zeros there are in the answer. So there's a clue to quickly converting from standard form into ordinary numbers. The negative power is the number of zeros in the ordinary number. Consequently, in this example, the power is negative 9, which will mean there are 9 zeros in the final answer. 1 zero before the decimal point and 8 zeros afterwards. And we can think in exactly the same way if we are converting from ordinary numbers into standard form. The first thing we consider is what will be the number between 1 and 10 in our standard form. Well, it would have to be 7.3. And then we look at the number of zeros 4 zeros will give us a power of 10 to the negative 4. Here's a second example. How many zeros can you count? Well, including the one in front of the decimal point, there are 24 zeros. So in standard form, this number will be 1.67 times 10 to the power of negative 24. So to recap on what we've done, a negative power of 10 means divide by 10 to that positive power. So in these two examples, in the first one, times by 10 to the negative 2 is dividing by 10 to the power of 2. And in part B, times by 10 to the negative 6 is dividing by 10 to the power of positive 6. To convert from standard form, the negative power is the number of zeros. So in our example, we've got 10 to the power of negative 9, so our answer should have 9 zeros in it. And to convert into standard form, we count the number of zeros, including the one at the front. And because, including the one at the front, there are 4 zeros, our power will be 10 to the power of negative 4.